Friday on FS1.
Good to have you in. Calling right, calling wrong, top of the hour. Generally, we in the media get it right. I know you don't want to hear that. Everybody hates the media, fake news, blah, blah, blah. But we usually get it right. We talk about the star players a lot. We talk about the slightly above, slightly below average players way less. And we never talk about the mediocre bad players. That's the way it works. By the way, fans mostly get it right, too. But in the media, it's our job to get it right. It's not your job to get it right. It's our job to get it right. Talk about the right people. That's the reason I talk about Brady. I talk about LeBron. Talk about Saban. Talk about Kevin Durant. There's a reason we talk about him. We talk about the Steelers. We talk about AB. We talk about Todd Gurley of the Rams. The media, though, has whiffed on one. Steph Curry's the third most discussed player on the Golden State Warriors. KD should be discussed a lot. Draymond makes a lot of noise, kind of fun. I get it. But does everybody get 30 years from now, his legacy is going to be changed the entire sport of basketball forever, and he's got 4 or 5 titles? Like, that's like, okay, that's not even first class. That's flying the plane. Okay, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, and Kyrie Irving get discussed significantly more. We whiff on Steph Curry. This past weekend, Andre Iguodala was talking about it. His teammate Steph Curry said, I still don't think he gets nearly the respect he deserves. I told KD. He said he missed on a shot he took, and I said, yeah, you two are like MJ. There's no such thing as a bad shot. When you sit down and have serious conversations, he is the second best point guard ever. Yes, he is. But even Magic Johnson, I never thought changed the sport. Magic was just great. I didn't think Michael changed the sport. He's just great. Wilt Chamberlain, changed the sport. They had to change rules for Wilt Chamberlain. LeBron James changed the sport. Players are now positionless. Can you play or can you not play? But Steph Curry isn't dramatic. He's not needy. He's not on Instagram all day. He's not seeking headlines. He recruited a great player to come to his team and take shots away. We generally get it right. We've completely whiffed. 30 years from now, here's what people are going to say about Russell Westbrook. Yeah, I mean, he triple-double, kind of an enigma, no titles, kind of hard to play with. That's what they'll say. James Harden, beard, MVPs, probably no titles. He traveled, and the refs never called it. He was a great offensive player. What people are going to say about Kyrie Irving? Flat earth. He left LeBron and the Celtics. Dude was talented. Remember the shot in Game 7? But kind of flaky. What people are going to say about Steph Curry is, oh, he changed the way they play basketball. He eliminated centers. He changed practice. Kids just went to gyms and shot threes. My son's not a huge NBA fan. He knows who Steph Curry is. The media usually gets it right. We've whiffed on Steph Curry. Okay? And maybe it's because Steph isn't loud, and Steph isn't seeking attention, and he's not a personal fireworks show, and he doesn't go on the shop and badmouth teammates. I understand, and I'm guilty of this, we talk about interesting a lot, and Antonio Brown right now is really, really interesting. And maybe Steph Curry's just not interesting enough. But generally in the media, great players get the talk. Average players get a little talk. Bad players get none. When's the last time before this I had a Steph Curry segment? A year ago? It's on me. It's on the media. Can't just talk about people who are trying to get talked about. Sometimes you got to look beyond that and talk about who is going to end up with one of the all-time great legacies in the history of the sport. I mean, there's how many people can you say in sports changed the sport? I mean, Muhammad Ali changed boxing. Boxers became self-promoters. Muhammad Ali changed boxing. Tiger Woods, he changed golf. Guys started eating right, doing push-ups. There's 7 guys in the history of sports that changed it. Steph's the third most discussed Golden State Warrior.
And while most people consider him to be the greatest shooter or one of the greatest shooters of all time, he's never in the conversation for the best player.
Ever.
On
his own team. It's like, well, KD's better.
Well, I think he was considered the best player on his team before KD got there.
Right.
But now it's just not even a question.
Yeah, it's like, there is something to be said about incredibly coachable. He's the best ball handler in the NBA. He's the best shooter in the NBA. And it's going to be about a decade to 12 years where he's the best at two things. Magic was the best passer and probably the best leader. Magic was never the best shooter, best defender. I mean, Larry Bird was almost as good a passer. So I think we've kind of whiffed on that. Colin right, Colin wrong, top of the hour. There is also, first of all, NFL Combine was this weekend. NFL Combine's fun. I don't take it, I watch it, not with a grain of salt, but I watch the NFL Combine, and it always reminds me of when I go and work out at a gym. Some guys just look great in a gym, but they're not great athletes. I don't take a lot from the NFL Combine. I did see a story this morning. I just want to mention this before we get to the top of the hour. According to Peter King, the NFL Combine, obviously Kyler Murray's getting a lot of talk. There's reports out there that John Gruden of the Raiders also likes Kyler Murray. And he's got all sorts of picks in the first round. So John Gruden could move up in the draft. The Combine's fun. I get it. I don't know how in the world Derek Carr went from an MVP candidate 2 years ago to less than Nick Foles on the market now. I would not move off Derek Carr. I think the Raiders are making a mistake. I think they've got a really good quarterback who a couple of years ago before he broke his leg was an MVP candidate. I don't get it. But at the Combine this weekend, there was a lot of Kyler Murray talk. And just to give you a heads up, Raiders Kyler Murray is also being discussed. Hour 2 next.